Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Surabhi Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 14th of August. India beefs up security ahead of Independence Day. Balochistan Solidarity Day trends on Twitter on Pakistan's Independence Day. And US General says no changes in operations in Afghanistan. And now for all the details. A tight security blanket was thrown across India on Wednesday with thousands of police and paramilitary personnel keeping a hawk-eyed vigil to thwart any possible threats a day ahead of the country's Independence Day. Security was beefed up across India on Wednesday as thousands of police and paramilitary personnel kept a hawk-eyed vigil to thwart any possible threats ahead of country's Independence Day. The situation in India's Jammu and Kashmir has remained calm since the region has been under restrictions after India last week revoked Article 370, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir. A tight security blanket was seen in Srinagar city of Jammu and Kashmir, and authorities assured that necessary arrangements have been put in place for the smooth conduct of the Independence Day.
On the overall situation, we have received reports that the overall situation remained calm. Further relaxations in prohibitory orders have been given in a large number of areas, including Srinagar, and these relaxations will continue to be given till afternoon today. There have been a few minor localized incidents which have been dealt with at the local level itself. On all other fronts, civil supplies, national highway, airport, medical facilities, things continue to be normal.
Police and paramilitary personnel have been deployed at airports, marketplaces, railway stations, interstate bus terminals and metro stations in all major Indian cities, including New Delhi and Mumbai.
हमें जो इनपुट्स मिले उस आधार पे हम 15 दिन से यहाँ पे एंटी सैबोटेज चेकिंग कर रहे हैं। जीआरपी और आरपीएफ मिलके हमें जॉइंट ऑपरेशन कर रहे हैं।
Authorities are leaving no stone unturned to ensure that security remains tight throughout the country. Pakistan and India gained independence from the British rule in 1947, the former celebrating its Independence Day on August 14th and the latter a day later on August 15th. And news from Pakistan. Pakistan on Wednesday celebrated its 73rd Independence Day with nationalistic fervour. The highlight of the celebration was a national flag hosting ceremony by President Arif Alvi in capital Islamabad.
Pakistan on Wednesday celebrated 73 years since its independence with national zeal and fervour. The highlight of the celebrations was a national flag hoisting ceremony held at the Jinnah Convention Centre in capital Islamabad. Pakistan's President Arif Alvi, who was the chief guest, hoisted the national flag at the ceremony. Addressing the event, President Alvi paid rich tributes to sacrifices and dedication of armed forces of Pakistan. In his address, he also condemned India's recent move to revoke Article 370, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir region. India has maintained that the abrogation of Article 370 is its internal matter. Freedom from the British colonial rule in 1947 was accompanied by the division of the subcontinent into Muslim-majority Pakistan and secular India.
Moving on, hashtags Balochistan Solidarity Day, 14th August Black Day and Balochistan is not Pakistan remained amongst the top 3 trends on Twitter on Wednesday. Baloch people have been trying out every possible platform or forum to highlight the issue of human rights violations by Pakistan against them. Hashtags Balochistan Solidarity Day, 14th August Black Day and Balochistan is not Pakistan remain 3 of the top trends on Twitter on Wednesday. August 14 is Pakistan's Independence Day, but people of Balochistan took to Twitter to remind that the region was forcefully annexed by Pakistan against the people's wishes. They also highlighted that ongoing enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings of Baloch people by the Pakistani security forces. Meanwhile, members of several Baloch and non-Baloch political parties participated in a seminar organized by Free Balochistan Movement in London. Exiled Baloch leader Mir Suleiman Daud said that some Baloch leaders also unfortunately conspired with Pakistan to undermine the sovereignty of Balochistan over the years. He said that it is on record that both houses of parliament of Balochistan had refused to join Pakistan.
The Baloch is suffering since 1947, or let's say 48 March till date. It is because of our own despot people who are doing politics in Balochistan and who are elected or selected by the Pakistani or military state or the Punjabistani state, and they have, in other words, shoved Pakistan through the throat of the Baloch.
Baloch activists accuse that Pakistani security forces operate with impunity and are involved in eliminating dissenting voices in Balochistan. They have been steadfastly highlighting the issue worldwide to seek help from the international community and human rights organizations. Top US State Department official Ambassador Alice Wells has welcomed the bilateral move by Islamabad and Washington to remove travel restrictions on each other's diplomats. Both countries had in May last year imposed movement limitations on their diplomatic staff.
United States Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for South and Central Asian Affairs Ambassador Alice Wells has welcomed the bilateral move by Islamabad and Washington to remove travel restrictions on each other's diplomats. The US State Department had last week announced that it removed travel restrictions placed on Pakistani diplomats based in the United States. It said the government of Pakistan has also reciprocated with a similar measure in relation to its diplomatic personnel assigned to its embassy and consulates in Pakistan. In the month of May last year, Pakistan and US had imposed movement limitations on their diplomatic staff. Pakistani diplomats were allowed to move around within only 25-mile radius in Washington.
US Army General Scott Miller, commander of NATO's Resolute Support Mission, rejected reports of limitations in US operations in Afghanistan. His remarks came after a media report surfacing quoting senior Pentagon officials that US personnel have been ordered to limit nearly all offensive combat operations against the Taliban.
U.S. Army General Scott Miller, commander of NATO's Resolute Support Mission, in a statement on Tuesday, rejected reports of limitations in U.S. operations in Afghanistan and said no such orders or changes have been made. A media report quoting senior Pentagon officials on Monday said that U.S. personnel have been ordered to limit nearly all offensive combat operations against the Taliban and cease advising the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces. This statement was made as U.S. President Donald Trump's administration proposes cutting U.S. troop strength in Afghanistan by nearly half to 6,000 as a means of finalizing technical details among Taliban leadership. General Miller called the article inaccurate and speculative. The U.S. and the Taliban are expected to sign a peace agreement in coming days, which will provide the ground for U.S. troop withdrawal and reduction in violence in Afghanistan.
In news from Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has raised concerns over the nomination of Gotabaya Rajapaksa as a presidential candidate this year. Wickremesinghe said that people should decide whether to safeguard their freedom or not.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has said the nomination of Gotabaya Rajapaksa for presidential candidate did not guarantee freedom of people, which they have won after 2015. Wickremesinghe said Gotabaya of main opposition Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana or SLPP is promising a safe environment in the country but has not apologized for all the old sins, including assassinations and abductions of journalists, attacks on media institutions and protesters. The Prime Minister's remarks came after SLPP's convention on August 11, where Mahinda Rajapaksa, the former president, was appointed as the party's leader and his brother Gotabaya was selected as the presidential candidate. Gotabaya is immensely popular among the powerful Sinhala Buddhist majority, who credit him for ending the island nation's 26-year-long civil war in 2009. But critics say that during the civil war he crushed the dissident Tamil Tigers with little regard for human rights, allowed abductions and gave consent to extrajudicial killings. He rejects all the allegations.
Assam Tea is known for its record-breaking auction, and this time it continued its spree of breaking records. The specialty tea from northeastern province sold for over $1,000 per kg.
India's northeastern Assam province is world famous for its tea. Assam Tea is known for its record-breaking auction, and this time it continued its spree of breaking records as 1 kg of specialty tea named the Golden Butterfly was sold for $1,052 at the Guwahati Tea Auction Centre. The tea was purchased by Assam Tea Traders, which is a record-breaking price fetched by a tea at a public auction for the third time in a fortnight.
Today we are very happy, the whole team. We are very excited. Decom Tea State, they made a record, world record of tea, selling at 75,000 per kg. We put a lot of effort. I mean, this garden, we're making quality tea for last, I think, 20 years.
Assam accounts for nearly 55% of India's tea production. Buyers look into indicators that include appearance, quality or strength of the liquid form and aroma.
Devotees on Tuesday took part in a colourful ceremony at a 900-year-old temple in southern India. It is believed that the temple's deity drives away distress and brings prosperity.
Scores of Hindu devotees thronged a 900-year-old temple located in a forest in India's southern Tamil Nadu province on Tuesday to take part in a colourful ceremony. The devotees believe that the temple deity, Lord Manjaneeswarar Ayyanarappan, drives away distress and brings prosperity. Religious offering is prepared at the temple and given to all the devotees on banana leaves as per Tamil traditions.
ஏன் 6 மணிக்கெல்லாம் சாத்திரோம்னா சாயந்தரம் சூரிய அஸ்தமனம் இருந்தால் இங்கே சுவாமி இருக்கிறதாவோ அதுக்கு மேலே மேல் லோகம் போய் எங்கள் தேவருக்கு அந்த முனிவர் பூஜையெல்லாம் எடுத்துட்டு நைட்டு அர்த்த ஜாமத்தில் வெள்ளை குதிரையில் 7 லோகத்தை சாரிக்காக்க போயிடுவார். அர்த்த ஜாமத்தில் ஊரை சாரிக்காக்க போயிடுவார் வெள்ளை குதிரையில். அதனால் நம்ம நட சாத்திடுறாங்க. சாயந்தரமே சூரிய அஸ்தமத்தை நட சாத்திடுறோம்.
நாங்கள் 3 தலைமுறையாக இந்த ஐயனாரப்பனை கும்பிட்டுட்டு இருக்கோம். புத்துப்பட்ட ஐயனாரப்பனை கும்பிட்டுட்டு இருக்கோம். எந்த கஷ்டம் இல்லாத நாங்கள் இருந்துட்டு தான் இருக்கிறோம். எந்த கஷ்டமும் எங்களுக்கு கிடையாது. நல்லபடியாக எங்களை வச்சிருக்கிறாரு.
According to local legend, Ayyanarappan leaves the village after sunset to travel the world on his white horse to protect his followers.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. India beefs up security ahead of Independence Day. Baloch Solidarity Day trends on Twitter on Pakistan's Independence Day. And US General says no changes in operations in Afghanistan. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.